So welcome to our Professional Coaching for Life and Work Certificate Program information session this afternoon or this morning, depending on where you are. We are here to talk about the upcoming summer cohort this year, and that's going to be starting in August. So let's get moving. I like to begin with a poll to learn a little bit about you guys. Really, we're here, our whole team is here to answer questions for you and make sure that you get what you need out of this session. So Bridget, who's helping us out in the background today, is going to launch that poll and just let us know a little bit about what brought you here today. Maybe you've had people tell you before, oh, you know what, you should be really good as a coach. You should be a coach. Or maybe you're already doing some coaching and you'd like to learn a little bit more and get some more in-depth theory and practice, or you're interested in an ICF certification, which is something that our program can lead to. We'll talk all about that as well. Some folks are just out there and they like to learn new skills or want to use coaching in their work or their personal life. We have a ton of alumni who say, I use this all the time. I thought I was going to start, just for starting my business, but now I found out it's everywhere in my life. So let's go ahead and take a look at who we have with us here today. Oh gosh, all kinds of folks. So it's all over the map. Looks like our biggest proportion, you want to do meaningful work that aligns with your passion. That's great. It's such a coach answer. And it's absolutely one of the things that brings us here. One of my favorite things about working with the coaching students is that they're passionate and caring people. So it's a delight to work on this program with all of the students who are so passionate about this particular field. Then we have a fairly even share of folks who some people are sharing things with you, and so maybe you want to learn a little bit more on how you can help people when they do that, or you're already coaching and you're looking for that formal training, and then folks looking for career shifts and you've had a coach before. So we've got folks all over the map here. That's great. You are in the right place. So now that we know a little bit about you, I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Heather Ogle. I'm the program manager for the Professional Coaching for Life and Work Certificate Program. And then we are also joined by Christy Craig, who is our enrollment coach. So if you are looking to apply or you have any questions after this session, you will be able to speak with her, have meetings, email, whatever you need to do to get those questions answered. And she can help you through the enrollment process so that it's a nice, easy, low anxiety process. And then we have, of course, our director, Jill Parrish, and Christy's information is at the top. We'll also post that in the chat for you here in just a second so that you can copy that and schedule sessions with Christy after this if you find that you still have some questions. And then I am so excited to introduce, we have an alumni with us today, Tracy Preciado. Tracy, would you like to say hi?
If I can find the unmute button. Yes. Hello, everyone. So happy to be here.
Thanks so much for joining us. So we love it when we can have alumni on who can answer questions about their experience in the program and what they have done with their training. Tracy, would you like to open us up today and just tell us a little bit about what you do and where you are these days after being in the program?
Absolutely. So I have, since being in the program, really my business has flourished. I am a fear slayer, and I do a lot of coaching, consulting, organization development work there. I'm also a global consulting partner for Genentech, or Roche, if you're outside of California and not familiar. So I spend my time doing both of those things, but really I just help to connect people to their passions and their love. And I just bring more love in the world. That's my job. I'm lucky.
Awesome. Thank you. So as we go through, I'm really going to encourage you guys to share questions. We don't need to hold them till the end. It's nice when it's more of a conversation. And so please feel free to use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen to type in those questions. You can also use the chat. but it's we don't lose questions as if they're in the Q&A box. The chat can get a little bit full, but either one is fine. And so here are our program directors. These are more members of our team who you would actually meet once you start the program. We have Carol Bennett and Michelle Payne, and they are the original creators of the program along with UC Davis. And we have the MCC after Michelle Payne's name is a really important marker. That means Master Certified Coach. And we have an additional instructor who's also a Master Certified Coach, not pictured here. And that is the top designation for a coach based on the International Federation of Coaches credentialing process. So basically that means that Michelle and our other instructor, Lori, are in the top 10%, maybe even less, of coaches in the world for their training and experience. So we're really happy to have them as large components of our program. All right, now my next slide is asking for those questions, and I think we have a few. Let's take a look. All right. Structure of the program, absolutely. Health and wellness coaches, we can definitely talk about that. And demands of the program when you have a full-time job. Great questions, guys. We will absolutely get to all of those. Here's our agenda. So we'll start off with that, the program details, the philosophy, where we'll talk a little bit about the different kinds of coaching and touch on that health and wellness. Then comes the program structure. We'll talk about the expectations in class and what a day in class looks like. And then we'll move on to discuss the ICF a little bit, why we're aligned with them and what that can mean for you as a student. And then we have a couple of neat extra benefits that come from completing the program, and then some extra time at the end for Q&A. All right, so here's another poll. Have you ever had a coach before? And it's interesting because when we started this program's over 10 years old. In the beginning, very few people had a coach. It was very rare. And these days we see more and more and more that people actually have had coaching, and it's out there in society. It's a recognizable term. People don't think, oh, you're a football coach, you know. And so let's just do a quick poll here and see where we are with the folks who are here with us today. There we go. All right. So that's most everybody, not everybody, but we will take a look. Not yet is our top answer, but it's very closely followed by yes. So excellent. We have, 50-50 really of folks who have had coaches or are currently working with a coach versus folks who haven't yet. And this is fantastic. I love seeing that number go up and seeing that people are taking advantage of the coaching that's out there in the world. And then, maybe that's what brought you to decide, look, I want to do this too. And then for those of you who haven't yet, absolutely okay. This program is built to learn coaching from the ground up. And then even if you are already coaching, we go into fantastic skills and the core skills that every coach should have so that you can really increase your repeating the word skills, but those skills, it's all about the skills. And we have a variety of people in a variety of experience levels. So we have folks who are brand new, never coached before, never had a coach. And then we have folks who are already professional coaches, but they're looking to maybe be certified by the ICF. And it's really great to have the mix, because that's one of the great parts of our program is that it's a cohort program, which means you're going through with the same people, you're learning from each other. And the networking that's involved is a huge component of your experience. All right, I see some more questions coming through. I'm going to take a pause. Financial assistance and trauma. Okay, so we will talk about the financial assistance towards the end, and then the trauma component we can talk about here in just 1 second alongside the health. All right, so here's a quick slide on what we mean when we say coaching. We're not doing the basketball coaching, the football coaching. And in our program, we follow the ICF guidelines and their definitions. And so under the ICF definitions, it's a partnership. And you're not driving the session with your client. You are there as the sounding board for your client. You're there to provide thought-provoking questions and really bring out answers that are within them, but they just don't realize it yet. And so that's what we think of when we think of coaching in this program. And so then you can also see some other things that are often very similar or confused with coaching, mentoring, consulting, therapists, counselors. These are all things that are within the helping others realm, but are different from coaching. Mentoring, as a mentor, you've been there, done that. You say, this is what you need to do to be successful like me. And that's obviously different from coaching in that you're sitting back and you may ask a question, what would happen if you looked at things like this, or what would happen? But ultimately, all of the answers are coming from that client. You're not giving answers. And then therapists and counselors are helping people, but it's a lot of their past. You're looking backwards and saying, what happened in the past that's keeping you from moving forward today? Whereas as a coach, you're taking your client as whole and capable, sitting in front of you today and looking forward, and knowing when to refer to therapy and refer to psych, and these kinds of things are all wrapped up in the ethics of coaching. And it's absolutely something that we go through right off the bat in the program. And so you talk a lot about sort of all the differences. All right, I'm going to keep going so that we can talk about some of those questions. So, and then we had another one, fees. Okay, perfect. So in our program, because we follow the ICF core competencies as our main philosophy, we're really focused on these core skills that every coach should have. It means that we are able to accept people who are interested in a whole variety of coaching styles, whether it's an executive coach, a health coach, trauma-informed coaching, youth coaching. All of these populations are going to use the same base skills no matter what. And then once you have those base skills, you're going to go into your specialization and you'll do more education and things like that to really become the master at whatever genre you want to focus in. But every good coach is using the same set of skills. So again, that means that we get this fantastic mix of people and diversity in the program. So you are in a cohort with people from 30 to 70, from career changers to Intel coaches who need, they're coaching already for Intel or Google, but they need their certification, stay-at-home moms, retirees, this whole mix of people, which is just fantastic to help in your learning process and to really drive, you're practicing with all of them. So you're learning how to coach different styles of people and on different topics. So short answer is we don't go into the specifics of trauma-informed coaching or the specifics of health and wellness coaching. So there are shorter courses that you can take out there, whether it's from the ICF or maybe the Mayo Clinic, if you really want to do their health and wellness program that gets into the specifics for clinical coaching. Great program, highly recommend it. Those are the kinds of programs where you're going to go to specialize, but truly you can take this program and begin in any genre of coaching because you'll have the skills to coach those people, no matter what little circle you might end up in. All right. Let's check in on our questions. Okay. And before I move on, I've talked a little bit about the cohort experience and this diversity. Tracy, would you like to say anything on your cohort and what that cohort experience was like for you?
Very happy to. I'd say that one of the things that I really appreciated about my cohort was that there really was diversity, right, in age and where people were from and what our foundational beliefs were and cultures and all sorts of things. And it was just a really beautiful experience. It's kind of an experience where you have to experience it to be able to give it its full breadth, and it's incredible. I mean, Heather, you also, right, had your own experience, so it's almost something you can't put into words. It's being able to learn from one another and create this really safe space. And I found with my cohort, and I'm sure this is the same for you, Heather, you find you're still connected with people within your cohort. We worked to have follow-up meetings to still connect with all of the people in our cohort, because you're just having such a special experience in the program. Yes, you're going to learn. Yes, it's going to be delicious. And yes, you're probably going to, depending on how deep you're willing to go, to change with one another. It just creates a beautiful foundation for coaching, for psychological safety, for any direction that you might want to go with this particular certificate. So, but Heather, too.
It's true. It's true. I like to have other folks say it so that they know, I'm just not selling my own program here. But I did take the program as well, and loved it, and love the fact that the first day you sit down, whether it's at your computer or in person, you're surrounded by people who also want to help people. And so you're just in a room full of beautiful folks who are excited to help others. And it's just a great experience. Okay, so I'm going to keep pushing forward because I love the questions coming in. I want to make sure we answer all of them, and have time for even more. So here's a little bit on what to expect from your classes. You're signing up for a full program, and within that program, there are 5 courses taught by different instructors. And this program goes over approximately a 5-month period. So you start out with Coaching Essentials. That's with Carol Bennett, one of the creators of the program. She just got her PhD in leadership and adult education. She's a PCC. She's an internal coach in the health systems, and she manages the internal health coaching at her particular business. So very experienced. She's going to open us up with really defining coaching, creating your own definition of coaching, and learning all about the ethics of coaching. So, and getting to know each other. So really the essentials of getting started. You move into core competencies. That's a longer class. That's with Michelle Payne, our MCC, and that is hard and heavy on those skills. You're going to start learning the 8 core competencies that the ICF defines, and you're going to practice. This is not a class that has a lot of lecture. Yes, there is lecture time. There are slides, for you to reference and look at, but you are seeing a demonstration, learning about a skill, and you start right away practicing it. And it's surprising. One of them is don't ask yes or no questions, because that's, is the sky blue? Yes, the conversation's over, right? It's surprisingly difficult at first to stop, breaking old habits and things like that. So anyways, you're going to get together with your cohort mates in breakout rooms and start practicing those coaching skills. You move forward to coaching mindset, which kind of looks at yourself and recognizes that in order to help others, you need to have a really good understanding of yourself, your core values, and these sorts of things. Being aware of bias, DEI or diversity, equity, and inclusion is threaded throughout the entire program. But in coaching mindset, we really take a deep dive looking at unconscious bias and things like that, so that you're at least considering the diversity of people that you'll be working with and including and making sure that you have a safe space. Coaching Conversations is with our other instructor, Lori Cozart, our other MCC. She gets into sort of the neuroscience behind coaching. The research out there is growing, which is awesome. And so she gets a little bit heavy on neurolinguistic programming. If you're a coach, you may recognize that phrase, some of that stuff. So it's a little bit different flavor from the other instructors that you've already had. And then you finish with Coach Mastery. You're finishing up with Michelle Payne again, the MCC, really consolidating everything you've learned, looking at where you want to go from here, and getting ready sort of to wrap up your experience in the program. All right, we're going to launch another poll, and then I'm going to check on our questions. This poll has always been interesting, and it's even more interesting these days. So are you local to Sacramento? This used to be a really important question when we were only offering the program in person. These days, we're online, and we're able to reach so many more people. We always have an international attendee. Even when we were in person, we'd have folks come over and live in Sacramento from other countries, but it's even easier now. All right, so while you're taking a peek at that, I see, Tracy, did you complete your cohort on campus or virtual? You want to comment on that, Tracy?
For sure. I did take it in the before, if any of you are Station 11 fans, before the pandemic. So it was in person. However, I am involved in the virtual nature of this. And I can tell you, I've experienced some of the same things virtually.
Yes. Tracy has been an alumni with us for 4 or 5 years now. So she is from the time before we went online. However, now she, in addition to being an alumni, she is one of our mentors in the program. And so she participates in the online program that we run right now. So she has some knowledge there. And is the program 100% virtual? Good question. It is. So the pandemic really pushed us to move online, and we found that we've been able to increase our reach so well. And I don't mean by like having 500 people in a cohort. The diversity of our attendees has increased incredibly, and it's so wonderful to see the mix of folks who are able to take the program now that it's online. Will we ever do an in-person one again? Perhaps, but I can guarantee in the year 2022 and 2023, it's going to be online. There are just so many things about the ease of offering the program this way and the reach that are really positive to push us toward that decision. That doesn't prevent you from meeting with your cohort outside of the program. We have plenty of people doing cohort reunions. There's one coming up for my cohort in June, and they're just, say, hey, let's get together and see each other face to face. Whoever can, absolutely welcome to do that kind of thing. Okay, so speaking of location, where did it go? All right, so about 38% of you live within pretty close to Sacramento, or about 50% altogether are in Northern California. So that's great. That really does mean that if you want to get together with your cohort, that really is something that you can make happen. And then we see that reach that we're getting. We've got Bay Area, we've got Southern California, we've got 12% coming to us from outside California, and 3 people international. So, welcome to the session. I'm super excited that you guys can be here and, are potentially looking at taking the program with us without having to travel all the way over here. We used to have 2 folks who would travel from Washington, DC in Maryland every other week. They would fly out for the program before we went online. All right, keeping it going, keeping it moving. So both the winter and the summer cohorts run on Fridays and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It sounds like a long time on Zoom, and it is, especially when you first get started, but we have lots of breaks. We encourage you to stand up, shake it out, and you really find that when you're in the intense moments of learning and coaching, the screen falls away. So I recall in my cohort, I was online, we had somebody doing a demo, one of the instructors demoing coaching for someone else, we were all so focused. We were in tears. We were just really experiencing this process with our classmate who had volunteered, and the screen, it's like it's not even there. So luckily, for the really important parts, it doesn't seem to matter that you're behind a computer screen. But that's from my opinion. We've got some interviews online you can read about it as well, and that's just talking about the remote over Zoom structure. You know that you're going to have a break every day at noon. That's guaranteed. Each instructor has a different way of breaking out their little breaks, but they'll let you know when they start their course. I take breaks at 10 minutes before the hour, or I take breaks every hour, or however that may go. Here is a look at the schedule for the summer. Again, don't feel like you have to scratch this down really fast. You're going to get a recording of this. You can always contact Christy and ask for a copy of this. This is broken down. You'll see the 5 different classes, and then you'll also see 2 things called demo days. And those are really fun, really nerve-wracking for the introverts at first, but you're going to be coaching in front of a group of your cohort. Not all, somebody asked how many people we have in a cohort. We have up to 50. But when you're doing these actual demo days and practicing, you're in groups of 10. And then when you're practicing exercises, you're in groups of 3 or just paired off as 2. So the practice and the experience, you're still in a small group. We have 2 instructors in class to help answer questions and make sure that everybody's getting the attention that they need. So that's our overall program structure. Let me make sure. I saw a couple other questions about timing and things. Bridget, are there any other questions that are good to answer at this point that I might have missed? Full-time job. I could do that one.
No, I think pretty much covered a lot of those right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. The full-time job is a great question. This course, you have a week off between each week of class. So you'll have a Friday and a Saturday, and then in general, you'll have a whole week with nothing. So you'll have time to work on your class assignments, do your practice coaching during that week off. And then the following week, come Friday, you'll have your next class Friday and Saturday. Sometimes that schedule gets shifted a little by holidays and things. So don't do what I had one student do, which is just, we start the 5th of August and mark his calendar every other week, because it might shift. So take a look at the schedule, make sure that you're referencing the schedule, and make sure that you can attend all of the classes. It's required to attend all of the classes but 2. So we've built in 2 extra days of class that if you really have to, you can miss and still have enough hours to finish and graduate from the program, as well as apply for ICF certification when you're done, if that's something you're interested in doing. If you miss more hours than the 2 days, you're going to have problems graduating, and you'll need to find more class time in order to apply to the ICF. So that said, take a look at the calendar. If you know you have 3 weddings in the summertime and you're going to miss 3 days, it sounds crazy, but talk to Christy and we can look at the winter schedule with you. It may be worth shifting when you do the program to make sure that you're able to attend all the days and really get everything out of the program that you can. I missed 1 day of my class and I still regret it because it's so experiential. You can ask for the lecture notes, but that's only maybe 1/3 of the class content that you're actually having that day. Everything else is practice. Okay. Here, we're going to talk a little bit about the fees and how to apply. So it's an all-inclusive price. There are no extra fees. So it's pay once and you're done. $9,500. That includes your tuition, your course materials, textbooks, mentor coaching and client pairing, which we'll talk about, as well as a pro Zoom license, and the application fee that normally comes with classes from UC Davis and CPE. The pro Zoom license is important because you need transcripts of your coaching to submit to your mentors. And your mentors are incorporated into this program. We've always included mentor coaching. It's a component of the ICF requirement. If you want to sit for that exam, you have to have mentor coaching. We have always included it because we see how vital it is for your learning and the massive growth you can get from one mentor session to the next. So we have longtime experienced mentors. And then client pairing. We actually ask the community, hey, are you interested in volunteering to be a client with our students? Free coaching. And the students get to practice without some of the anxiety of finding the first client. So all of these things are included. And then our application, so there is an application. The early application deadline is March 21st. And so why do we care about the early application deadline? For the first time ever, we're doing an early application discount. So if you apply by March 21st, we'll let you know on your acceptance or wait list, what have you, by April 1st. And then if you can pay by April 18th, you get a $500 discount. We will continue, that's not your last chance to apply to the program. We'll continue to have the applications open for a few more months. But if you want to save $500, this is a great way to do it. And it's easy, it's 4 questions. You're going to create your profile, include that work history. That's our one requirement for the program, sort of a prerequisite, is 5 years of work history. And really that's just getting at the fact that you can do a professional program, show up, get your work done, and then you have some world experience. So, if you have somebody straight out of high school, we've said, go out there, get a little bit of experience, and then come back to us. But generally we have folks who are in their 30s and up coming in with the work experience. These are the questions that you're going to see. It's totally free to apply. So you can click the link. Bridget will put that link in the chat, or Christy can, so that you can look at the application, think about it, answer. We're really just looking to get to know you as a person. It's not about, oh, I've already have this coaching credential and this coaching credential, or somebody asked about an associate's. We don't care if you finished your associates or you've never even started one. All we care is that you are committed to the program, you're enthusiastic about coaching, and you're going to bring something to the cohort so that it's going to be a wonderful group experience for everybody. So share your story. Tell us about times when you've done things like coaching, even if you're not a coach, if you've done similar things. What was it like? What were the results? How did it feel when you finished that? That's the kind of stuff we're looking for. Okay, so we're going to launch another poll. I'm going to take a quick look at our questions and see how we're doing. What if you already have a Zoom Pro license? That's perfect. You don't have to use the UC Davis license. However, I will say, and this changes all the time, but we had a cohort where people had pro licenses, but it didn't come with the transcript feature for whatever reason. Our license does come with the transcript feature because it's an educational level, organizational wide license. So that's the only thing I would say is check and see, are you able to get a written transcript? If so, that's great. Don't worry about it. If not, we can hook you up with one of the UC Davis ones. The textbooks, online or physical, your choice. So we are now offering digital textbooks that can be sent straight to your Kindle. Just recognizing that, we can decrease on shipping and fuel and things like that. So that is an option, but we also do actually send you the physical textbooks. Right. The winter schedule, we will have that available within the next month or so. So we have to work with the instructors to see how far out and when they're available, but we can get that. And we can always get you a draft schedule so that you can see what it looked like the last time, or like right now. Right now we're running the winter cohort. We can get you the schedule that we have right now so that you can see in a 95% chance it would be pretty much exactly what we have running right now, just so you can get an idea. Assistance for the ICF process. Yes, and we can talk a little bit more about that. Qualify for the over 60 program. I do not know. We'll refer to one of our student service specialists who's with us. Outside homework hours, you're going to be doing anywhere from probably 10 hours over that 2-week period of homework. There's some reading, and then you're going to be coaching. You know, we don't have busy work. We're really just interested in using different learning modalities to solidify your learning. And the most time intensive process we have is do a session, listen to your session. What kind of questions did you ask? What would you like to do differently? That kind of thing. So is there homework? Yes. It's an academic program, so you do get academic credit, so there is homework, but it's, I would say, about 10 hours. If you booked 10 hours, you would be fine for every 2 weeks. All right, let's keep going. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about the ICF and getting certified with our program, getting set up to apply to the ICF. So have you heard of them? We have 25% say yes, and I found you through the website, so that's perfect. You know that you already know we're affiliated with the ICF. We've got another 25% who say, absolutely, I'm looking for that credential. We've got some folks, the other 50% who say, I'm not too familiar, maybe I've heard about it or I haven't heard about it at all. So again, we're at a 50-50. So that's perfect. Let's move forward. Tracy, would you like to comment on your process in getting certified with the ICF, and just kind of what did that bring you to the program? What are your thoughts around all that?
So in my process in getting certified after I got the credentialed after I got the certificate, is that what you're asking? Yeah. So, so since I've done it, I know the process has changed. And I would say that after I was done with the program, it was just a matter of, so the program definitely teaches to understanding the coach knowledge assessment test that you would have to do to get accredited. There is a fee that's associated with getting accredited, and also you do have to do a certain amount of hours. And the hours that you have to do or have to log as a coach have to begin after you started the program. That's the new qualification. So I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, the ACC is at 100 hours, PCC is 500, and then MCC is 1 million.
Thousands, yeah. Yeah, you've got it. Yeah. Perfect. And then I know that you have a hard stop at noon, and we've got all these great questions. I want to take a second here before going into the ICF details, and just ask a little bit about what it was like for you to develop your business after the program. Any tips or tricks for folks who are thinking about doing coaching so that they can start their own business?
Yeah, happy to answer that. So I would say that I was very prepared for coaching out in the wild after I went through the program. In fact, I got my first professional outside of anything else that I did client while I was still in the program. So I felt secure enough to do it then. Because you really will be going through the nuts and bolts of being able to, what does contracting with a client look like? What's important? What does bringing clients in look like? I know a lot of different coaches do this a lot of different ways. So there are numerous ways that you can think about building your own business and getting clients. I have a business partner who is very successful through Yelp. She puts out ads through Yelp, and that's how she gets her business. And so this is just for, if you were to have your own individual coaching business. And really, I would say, just like anything, there's no magic wand that you wave and then suddenly you have many clients. Different tactics are going to work for different coaches. So while I would say that the program, really helps you to get the foundations and the understanding of, okay, how am I going to be a coach? What is this going to look like? There's definitely room for, you to figure out what it is that you need to do to market yourself. You will be given, things to help you bring clients in, meaning like you'll practice with your questionnaire or things like that with clients. But in terms of building the business, that's not what this particular program goes through, unless something has changed on your end, Heather.
No, that's right. So we focus on the skills, the skill sets, and then there is an ICF course, short course that is cheap. It's like in the scheme of things, I think it's $300, and it goes into how to start your coaching business. It's very specific. And they do a great job. We've had multiple alumni go through that. So we leave that to the ICF experts on that. And they talk about the marketing and looking for clients and these sorts of things. So we keep to the actual skill base of the coaching. And that goes to a couple of questions that were out there, I believe. So thank you, Tracy. All right, so details on the ICF. Our program has been around for over 10 years, and we have been accredited through the ICF the entire time. So we have a long-standing history with the ICF. This program was created because the Carol and Michelle wanted a really, the word's evading me, professional, high quality program that they weren't able to find out west, especially. You could go to Harvard, you could go to Texas. That was about it, apart from Coach U or other telephone coaching programs. So this was really one of the tenets of this program is creating and following specific guidelines for coaching, upholding those guidelines and really making it a recognized profession. So along with that, we definitely associating with the ICF helps achieve that. Following their competencies helps achieve that. There was one other question. ICF. Okay. So for those who are not familiar with the ICF, that stands for the International Coach Federation. It's either the top or one of the very top credentialing institutes for coaching. If you're a coach, you're going to be familiar with the ICF. It is truly international. We have coaches who halfway through our program, you have enough hours to start the peer coaching program, and you can trade coaching hours with people in France or any number, African countries, wherever. There's lots of different international folks who you can barter coach with, and that's one way to gain practice hours. So we are what they call an accredited coach training program, which means that we give coach specific training hours, and we do 150, which somebody asked, how are we different from other programs out there? that is some of the most hours you can get from a single program out there that exists. We certify that you are coaching at a PCC level when you finish this program. That's the middle level. So you don't need to, you can get your first level of your first credential, that associate certified coach. You can do more coaching hours, get more practice, and then apply with the same certificate from UC Davis again for your professional level. That's the second level that comes. So there's a massive amount of training. You don't have to retrain to go from one level to the next. That's all taken care of. We include your mentor hours. So that's another component that's required for the ICF application. We include those. Let me go to the next screen so you can see. So we're that accredited program. 60 hours of training is what you need for this first level, but we actually do 150. So you'll see that that gets you over the 125 for the PCC level. We do your mentor coach hours, the 10 hours that you need. Reference letters, super easy. We've got multiple mentors you'll be working with as well as the instructors, so that can be taken care of super easy. And then you need to do a live oral exam. And that's also taken care of within the program and graded within the program. So basically all you need to do is work on those practice hours. You will have 6 to 10 practice hours available in the program as assigned. So what I mean by that is you can use a UC Davis client that's contracted for 6 hours of coaching. So there's 6 guaranteed hours of coaching. But we also encourage you to be coaching anyone and everyone outside of class. So whether it's your cousin or your classmate, you can be coaching and gaining and working on those 100 hours the minute that we start the program. And that's what Tracy was talking about earlier. These practice hours, you can start accruing those from day one. We've had plenty of students these days who within a couple weeks of finishing the program have their 100 hours. So the coaching practice that you get, you're doing well over 100 in practice, but that's the training hours. That's part of the homework. That's part of the training hour requirement, which is different than this experience hour requirement. If it's a homework, that's for training. If it's outside of class, that's for coaching experience. Just double checking on questions. And then again, you can see that when you have 500 hours, you're ready to use your UC Davis letter of completion to apply for that PCC level without having to do any extra work. So that's nice. We also have our alumni group, which is a great resource for business advice, job postings. We've had people say, our company is hiring more coaches. Check it out, you guys, check it out here. So this is a closed group that is only available to people who have actually taken our program. And the alumni, again, being people who care and want to help others, they're super excited to help our newbies any way that they can. So there's that. And then one nice extra benefit of the program is that if you have your undergraduate degree, you can be halfway done with a master's degree. So this program is academically approved by UC Davis, by campus, for real academic credit. And because of that, we have an agreement with the University of Pacific saying, basically, we'll accept your transfer credit, no questions asked, so that you have half a master's degree done. Then you just have 7 classes and a capstone. We have 1 or 2 people do this every single cohort. It's really great to see people taking advantage of, you're basically double dipping the cost savings on a degree. So that's fun. We can always hook you up with their advisors if you have more questions about that. And then of course, money questions. We had lots of money questions out there. Everyone who attended live today gets a $100 discount. But if you get your application in before the 21st, you're going to get a $500 discount. So that's even better. We can't stack the discounts. So if you can't make the March 21st deadline, at least you have the $100 discount. And then we do have arrangements with student loan providers, GI Bills, workforce innovation. Let's see, Suzette, do you want to speak on some of those financing opportunities?
Absolutely. Thanks, Heather. So everyone, my name is Suzette Odom. I am the student finance advisor for the continuing and professional education, and I work for student services. I'm going to provide you with a really good link. I'll put it on the chat right now for you. That'll give you all the information for the student loans. Hold on 1 second here. Let me put it in here. Let's see. 1 second, sorry. It'll give you really good information on the student loans, private student loans that we work with. The two lenders that we partner with are Sallie Mae and College Avenue. Both those alternative loans have several different repayment options that you can look into. We also use what they call SETA, which what that one is, that is a funding agency. It's a Sacramento Employment and Training Agency. And we also work with WIOA. Some people call it WIA. That stands for Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. Those are two of the funding agencies that we also work with. If you are a veteran or a spouse of a veteran or a dependent of a veteran, we also work with the VA, with the VA benefits. And then we also have, there's also a scholarship if you were part of the AmeriCorps agency, there is a scholarship available for those students as well. And now I do highly suggest, if you're going to be using any of the job training funds or the VA benefits, I would get started on that right now. The sooner the better, because there is some documentation that needs to be turned in. And I'll also provide you with my email so you can get in touch with me if you have any further questions regarding any of the financing options.
Thanks so much, Suzette. So we've got a lot of options out there. And if you contact Christy and talk with her, she can always hook you up with Suzette to get you set up with whichever avenue you wanted to pursue. So we are wrapping up. We're here at the end. Our alumni needs to step off in about 5 minutes. Does anybody have any specific questions for her as she has finished the program and gotten out there and started her business? We'll make sure that we get those done first. And then I can also answer some of the general questions that we have going on here. Bridget, do we have any questions going on in the chat?
There is two, let me pull them up. There's actually one for Tracy.
Okay. All right, well, you're grabbing that. I see one popping up here.
Okay.
Tracy, what was most challenging about going through the program?
I think the most challenging thing is really stepping back and being able to deeply look at yourself, which is the hardest work that I think we're ever going to be able to do. It was challenging in a lot of ways because I really did change as a human being and got closer to who I think I really am. And it created some issues in my personal life that I didn't expect. So I would say that was the greatest challenge for me.
Yeah, I agree. I was typing out an answer to one of the questions, and certainly something that makes this program slightly different than others is the amount of personal coaching that you end up getting because of how we run it as an experiential program. You are basically getting 5 months of personal coaching while you are learning these skills. And it's an incredible experience to really, you're looking at maybe a new job or this new career, and then getting coaching all around this and then other things that come up as you practice with your classmates. And it feels funny to me to say the phrase, but I've heard it multiple times. This program has been life-changing for many people. And I think it's, not just because they learned about coaching, but it's because of how they learned. And so it's fantastic to hear those stories. So thank you, Tracy.
Yeah, of course.
There is one other question for you, Tracy. Can you give an example of one of your clients?
An example, well, I mean, I can generally say what I coach around. So I get a lot of different clients. My coaching is around helping people to identify and overcome fears, hence fear slaying. So we do a lot of mindset work. And I mean, if you're human, you have fears. So I've worked with executives, senior executives, all the way to individual contributors in organizations. And like I had mentioned before, I have my own business, but I also do coaching within the context of the organization that I work with as well. So hopefully that helps a little bit, unless you had a really specific question about the type of client.
Right. So you do, professional and executive and organizational, as opposed to, life coaching from your house necessarily. Yeah. And then it's not something that we talked about this session, but confidentiality is huge in the program as well as in coaching, right? So one of the first things you do in the program is, as a cohort, as a group, work out your confidentiality agreement, and what happens in coaching stays in coaching. So including that you're even taking the program. We've had government officials take this program and do volunteer for a session of coaching as a demo. And we had to extra put the phones away, make sure nobody was taking notes, and really promise this was an important topic for her, but it would not leave that room. And it was an amazing experience to see that coaching on such an important topic happen. So just confidentiality is part of the program and highly involved in the coaching world. Thank you so much, Tracy. We'll let you go. I really appreciate you joining us today. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Thanks, Tracy. And then I will stick around and make sure that we've answered everybody's questions. But my other guests, if you need to pop off, that is A-okay. I appreciate you being here and helping to answer questions in the background. So let's see, we have, again, we have a question about specializing in coaching. So one of the hallmarks of the program is that we teach the skills that can be used in any specialization. So just like if it were basketball, it's footwork drills, it's dribbling. These, any player needs to be able to do these skills, no matter whether you're doing spiritual or health or trauma informed or executive. These core skills are the really important things to be a good coach. That's what we teach, which is neat because we get people from all over the place looking for interesting, different kinds of coaching coming together in the program. So no matter your interest in coaching, this is the place to start your coaching journey and learn those core skills to be a good coach. We had a question about somebody, time spent in the program and not having a ton of flexibility. That's a great point. It is considered a professional program. You do need to be on screen at your computer, ready to participate for the full class sessions. So we highly recommend, if you have kids, if you can get somebody to look after them while you're, in class, that would be fantastic. But at the same time, we don't want to turn folks away just, because they have kids. That's not something that we want to do. So, but the idea is that you're going to be able to be focused while you're in class, because it can be an emotionally exhausting, intense experience. So you need to really be there as much as you can. That would be my guidance on that. Let's see. And then, Suzette, did we get the link for the financial aid stuff in the chat? I bet we did.
Yeah, I put it on.
Okay.
I can put it on
Perfect.
if you need me to.
Okay, now I'm just going back through older questions, so we may have already answered some of this stuff. That's a good, interesting one. Are there organizations that hire ACCs? And do we have access to potential employers as UC Davis? So as UC Davis, we don't have any partnerships with any of the different coaching businesses out there. However, there are multiple businesses that basically hire you on as a consultant or as an employee, and they give you the client. They find clients and they pay you anywhere from $40 to $90 an hour to coach. So it's a really nice way to get started in coaching, because you don't have to worry about all the business setup and the advertising and finding clients. If you just get on with one of these companies, Better Up, oh gosh, start with that. You'll see the other ones come up as well. I'm trying, it's not coming to my head. But there are multiple of these large coaching firms. You can use that as a search term as well, coaching firm. And it's a great way to get started, and they absolutely hire ACCs. And many of my alumni who I've spoken with have said, I've been bumped past the second round interviews after giving my first demonstration. So for me, what that shows is that we are really putting out skilled coaches. It's 5 months of intense training, and you are way ahead of the game when you hit the job market. I've had this said for different coaching firms, different people. They've just gone straight from their first interaction with them to, okay, yeah, we're hiring you. Don't worry about the second round. So it's really encouraging to show that we're on the right track. All right. Criteria for admission and expectations. Our one prereq is that 5-year work requirement. We do ask about that on the application. The expectations are that you are professional, able to be present fully. This is not sort of a seminar class where you can kind of watch Netflix in the corner and kind of watch the class in the other corner kind of a thing. And that you're going to be really enthusiastic and passionate and interested in increasing the cohort experience. So not only are you there for your learning, but you're there to sort of be a teammate for your cohort. That's what we're looking for people in the program. Recording practice hours. You can record your own spreadsheet in Excel if you want to. We have a spreadsheet that you can use from the ICF, and it's just about the hour and the contact person, and you keep track of those. And then when you're ready to submit for the ICF, they may ask for a couple of names, and they'll just sort of spot check your practice hours. English speaking clients, yes, for some of your assignments. So if you want to practice with clients in a different language and count those practice hours, that is absolutely fine. But for things like your mentor session, you need to have the recording and the transcript, and it needs to be in English so that your mentor can evaluate and give you feed forward and feedback on your technique. But very good question. But we've had multiple people come through you know, English is their second language, and it hasn't been an issue as well. So as long as you can get the homework in the English, then we're happy about that.
Heather, I'm going to go ahead and log off. If you have any other questions, feel free to send me an email, okay?
Thanks, Suzette, so much, Suzette.
Oh, you're
Have a
welcome.
great afternoon.
You too.
So the mentoring, is it career counseling? No, so it is actual mentoring on technique. You are learning, again, they'll see the questions that you ask and the answers that the client has given, and they are looking for those specific competencies, those 8 core competencies designed by the ICF. They're looking, you know, did you ask a powerful question and not just a yes/no question? And they define, you know, what is a powerful question? Well, we get into that. So they're really, it's all about technique. It's not career counseling. However, you are free to speak with them and get advice on that kind of thing as well. But for the assignments and the use of the mentors, it's technique. It's truly about technique. Paid hours. How does ICF define paid hours? Paid hours can be anything from here's $1, will you coach me, to here's a coffee, I'm paying you with a coffee, to I'm going to coach you for $5. I pass you a $5 bill, then you coach me, or barter coaching is what I'm trying to say. I pay you $5 to coach me, and then you pay me $5 to coach you. Basically what we've done is a net zero transaction. That's called barter coaching, and that counts as paid hours for the ICF. So when you coach 1 hour for 1 hour with a classmate, or you do the ICF peer-to-peer coaching, that all counts as paid hours. And being paid by your job should count, but definitely, you know, if you're in the program and, or if you're looking, definitely want to double check the ICF website just to make sure. But I do believe that that would count as a paid hour if it's part of your job. Okay. We do provide at least one client to work with, but we encourage you to talk to everybody you know and say, hey, I'm in a program. Do you want some coaching? So there's lots of different folks that you can coach out there. We had one person who was sitting at a bar and they had their notebook out and it said, you know, UC Davis coaching, and they ended up getting a client out of the bartender because they had their notebook out. All right, so I think that we have gotten to most of the questions. Let me just double check at the bottom. Question about the different, the way the hours, the practice hours break down. So yes, you need 100 hours total for practice, and 75 should be what they call paid, which we just talked about, can mean a lot of different things. And then 25 are pro bono, so free, free coaching. So they want you to mix it up. Basically is the gist there. And then, so one more question. In order to certify for the PCC program, okay, so how many hours do you need for the PCC? So again, our program feeds and gives you everything you need to sit for the exam. So there's the exam, which we've never had anybody fail, the ICF exam. You're really well prepared for that. And that by passing that exam, you get the first level, that ACC, and you can do that when you have 100 practice hours. When you have 500 practice hours, you've already taken the exam, you can submit to the ICF and say, hey, I now have 500 hours, and here's my UC Davis certificate, just like I showed you before. It says I'm certified at a PCC skill level. I want my PCC now. And they say, okay, great. Yep, here you go. No need to take more classes, anything like that. So it's 100 hours and 500 hours are the two levels that you need in order to advance with the ICF. And during the program, you'll get, a few hours as, assigned practice hours, but mostly the program is about those training hours. So there's these different buckets, right, of kinds of hours. We do a lot of the training, a little bit of the practice hour, but most of what you're doing is training. But outside of class, during those 2 weeks, you could coach 2 people every day and really rack up that practice hour number while you're taking the class. And that would be how we've had students finish the program in 5 months, and then within 2 weeks to a month and a half, really buckle down and coach a whole bunch, and they finish all 100 hours and are ready to sit for the ICF exam. Most people take a year, or at least 6 months to finish their practice hours, but it's up to you in the end. It's purely on what your schedule is and what you'd like to do. All right, so I hope that you guys were super great. We had all kinds of questions. I hope that we got to everybody's and answered all those questions. If you have anything left, feel free to contact Christy, let us know, and get those apps in by the 21st so that we can get you that $500 discount. Or if you need more time to think about it, that's fine too. We'll have the applications open for a few more months beyond this month. So also not to worry there. So thank you guys so much for being with us, and have a great rest of your afternoon.